Well, hello everyone and welcome to the channel. And on today's video, I'm going to be giving a final update on my VW Caddy van. For those of you that have been following for a long time, you'll know what I'm talking about when I refer to the Caddy van. But those that might be new here, that haven't been to my channel before, you might be watching this video for the first time, I'll give you a little background about what's actually been going on before I tell you this final update of the Caddy van. Otherwise you might be slightly confused about what I'm talking about. So I've owned a VW Caddy van, 2014 VW Caddy van, a nice little Highline model, for a few years now. And around about 18 months ago, my friend Luke, down at Rusty Nuts in Devon, again, if you're a regular to the channel, you know who I'm talking about. He's a good friend of mine, known him since we were young. And he does a lot of work building camper vans and different projects, and he's basically just handy with anything like that. And he's always he's always there to help me if I need a hand. And he suggested that I turn the little VW Caddy into a micro camper. And after thinking on it, I thought that's not actually a bad idea. I was thinking a stealth camper. So we got started on that van. I did a load of work on it. Those videos are on my channel if you're interested to go and watch those. And we did the final work on the van about probably around 12 months or so now ago, probably a little bit over that, don't know the exact date. And we finally finished the main part of the work to turn it into a little camper. It was all insulated, it was all carpeted. I'd fitted a 12-volt split charge system in using a lithium battery and a Victron DC to DC charger. It had the lights in it. It had a max fan in the roof. It was all ready for units and a bed. And that's all it needed. I'd had some mechanical work done on it previously. I'd had a new diesel pump. I'd had new injectors. I'd had the cam bout done. I'd had all the oil leaks done. And basically, this van should have been a cracking little van, and it was lovely, and I loved it. I loved that van. I still do love that van, but it's a bit bittersweet though. My VW ownership with that's a bit bittersweet. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship. So on the way back from having that van completed in Devon, I was on the way back and I was daydreaming about what bed to fit and kitchen unit and going out on little staff camps in it. And then 70 mile an hour in the outside lane on the motorway, bang, it just died. All power went. I limped it over. I managed to get into the services. Long story short, after a bit of a stressful recovery, that video is on the channel as well if you want to go and check that out. That was a long old recovery, not great. And my van was back, and it come back to me, and this is where it all kind of just was going wrong from here. Even when the van was recovered back to me, the RAC had damaged all the front of it, so that really peed me off. But I was just focused on getting it sorted. Found out the actual cam bout had gone because the tensioner that had been fitted, the new tensioner, had gone. That had broke off. So what started then is a big long old scenario. Obviously I contacted the mechanics. After discussions, they looked at it, decided that the tensioner had failed, even though it was only a new one. They said it was a Gates kit, and then it's sort of documented online as well that there's been a lot of failures with these Gates tensioners from a company called Gates. So that was the blame. They tried to go to Gates and tried to get compensation. That didn't really work out. So that was a drawn out process, and in the end they decided they'd have to sort it for me because obviously it wasn't my fault. So they did the right thing. They got another head, a second-hand head. They had it skimmed. They basically fitted that, and I got it back. That took, we were about 6 months into it at this point. I think it was about 6 months, and I got that back, and within a couple of days I noticed the coolant was going down. There was a leak, so they had it back. Then they paid somebody else to do the head because they never had time to do it, and they were obviously a bit stressed as well with it. So that never got done. That chap never finished it. I don't know what happened there. Never really got an explanation on that. Then they decided they'd have to do it, and then they took the van back. At this point, we're about 9 months, 10 months into this whole scenario. I'd had my van for about a week basically, at this point, it was coming up to 12 months. I'd had my van for about a week. Then they phoned me up with some bad news saying, oh, now the block's cracked. And basically it was scrap, no good. The block was, cracked. It needs a new engine. So then they said, right, we're going to get you a new engine sorted. They were going to fit another engine. I suggested maybe you should just get another company to do it. And then you've actually got a warranty with another company. It's down to them if there's any further issues. And we all thought there should be no further issues because there shouldn't be, should there? So a 60,000 mile engine was sourced. That was fitted not long ago. That was only like, what, a month or so ago? Maybe a bit longer, 6 weeks. I don't even know. I've lost track now. My brain's just lost track. And I was due to pick it up in the morning. Oh, and I'd had a new clutch fitted as well. So this is where we are. We're up to date now. So this is what's happened. So that's the history of it up until like literally probably like 6 weeks ago. And they phoned me up in the morning. It was booked for an MOT. And they phoned me up and said, we've got a problem with your van again. I was like, you're joking me. What do you mean another problem? How can there be another problem? It's had another engine. There was 60,000 miles on it and a new clutch. It should be absolutely perfect. It should be, no issues at all. My brain was just like, I've had enough of this. I can't cope with any more of this. And they said there's oil in the water. And you know that phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back? That's exactly what it was. That was, for me, that was it. I'd had enough. It was the straw that broke the caddy's back. And I just thought, I can't cope with this any longer. This is just driving me insane. And I'd actually recently just bought this van, which I'm in now. This is my Transit. I bought a 2020 Transit H3L2. So that's on my channel. So you want to go back and look at that. And that's the van that I'm in right now. I'd already bought this about a week before my caddy van was due to come back. The engine was off getting put in. And I'd waited that long. I just got so disillusioned with it all. I think I mentioned this in a previous video. I'd had enough. I just went, I've had enough of this. So I got myself another van, which is this one. Totally changed my plans. I thought, I just want to build a bigger van now. A space for me and my kids. And everything just changed in my mind. Because I had so much time to think. So much time to ponder on things. My whole mindset, my whole thought process just changed over those 12 months. I'd had enough of this caddy. I just had it up to here with it. I thought to myself, how can this be? How can I have all this work done? And I just paid for a new clutch as well. How can you have all that done and then it's still a problem? And in my head, I just thought, do you know what? This van, for whatever reason, the van, a higher power? I don't know. But I just felt like I was not destined to have this van, my caddy van. I felt like, it just, when that happens to you in life and you can't quite figure out what's going on. And it just seems no matter what you do, no matter what you try, no matter how hard you try, whatever you're trying to achieve just won't work, won't happen no matter what. And it's like life just keeps throwing things at you. Constant things like hurdles, and you just can't. You get over one and then there's another one and you're like, so eventually, like I say, after 12 months, I got to this stage and I just thought, I don't know, I've had enough of this van. So I said to the mechanics, I said, you've been pestering me about buying this van since you've seen it, because they loved it, because they've got a caddy van and they love my van. They loved it because it's a nice van. It's got aircon, cruise control, looks nice. Those of you who've seen it again on the videos, it's a nice van. And I said to them, I said, you're always going on about buying the van. I've had enough of the van. I don't want the van. I've now bought myself a new van. Something was just saying, Paul, you've got a new van. This caddy van's had its day with you. It doesn't want to come back to you. That's what it felt. It just felt like it did not want to come back to me. So I said to the mechanics, just buy my van because I've had enough. And also, they've sunk money into it as well. And they've sunk the money into putting an engine in. So I said, you basically own my van almost, but you just haven't paid me for it. So that's where we're at. We've agreed a price on the van. I had a chat with them. They phoned back a couple of days later. We had a good old chat about it. And all I'm waiting now is a payment to come through for the van. I've agreed, like I say, I've agreed a sale. Signed the V5 over. Hopefully by the time this video is actually dropped onto YouTube, I'll have got paid for my van or sorted some sort of payment out with them. And hope, and that, you know, that's it then. I'm going to be moving on. But I just wanted to give a conclusion to all the Caddy subscribers as well, because a lot of people have subscribed to me for Caddy content, and you're probably waiting for the finished product. You know, me putting a bed and a unit and everything in it, and then going out on my staff camps. Well, unfortunately, that's not going to happen, because that's where we are, and that's what I've decided to do. And I think I've made the right decision. I'm now moving on to bigger and better things, as they say. I've got my transit van. I'm really over the moon with this. I love this van. I can't wait to get this build done. That's planned. I've got that booked in with my mate Luke at Rusty Nuts for the windows, the max fan going in the roof, insulation. I've got some wiring to put in. I've got the subfloor to do. I've got all of that planned. I've got all the materials. I've got it all ready to go. So that's all I'm waiting for now. So moving forward, I'm moving forward. The channel's moving forward. We've got some closure. So I hope that's answered some of your questions if you've been wondering what's been going on. And thanks for bearing with me on this, because it has been a bit of a stressful journey, I'll tell you that. And it's, you know, there's videos I've not really wanted to make, to be honest. You know, they're not really interesting, are they? But I just feel like I've got to let people know what's going on. So thanks for bearing with me, and I will see you on the next one. And hopefully the next video that I make will be something really, really good, something really interesting, and progress moving forward. So on that, I'm going to go and I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later. Bye.